Alrighty, episode number 12 of You Think You Know Me. This is going to be a very short but very important one because this is basically what's going to be what I like to call a rundown of what to expect on my channel over the next couple days and weeks. As few of you know, I will be heading to Daytona as I'm recording this tomorrow, covering everything that is within the Daytona International Speedway, including the Daytona 500 and Daytona 500 Media Day. So, I got a lot of stories to write, I got a lot of stories to tell. Of course, like I mentioned, it's going to be under a vlog format, and no, you will not see my face because I like to keep it mysterious for the time being. But, the best way to follow me is on Instagram, LuisDTorres94, Twitter, the most important one of them all, at DLTFiles. But perhaps more bigger than myself is Motorsports Tribune, which you follow the Instagram, Motorsports Tribune, all together, that's all in one word, and on Twitter at Motorsports Trib, but Motorsports Trib, Trib, and also, the biggest one of them all, Facebook. Give Motorsports Tribune a like because that's where you're going to see a lot of content for Daytona. Not just Daytona, some IndyCar stuff along the way. This website has it all. It has IMSA, NASCAR, Formula 1, IndyCar, you name it, we have them. So please, more importantly, give them the support, give them a like, give them a follow, and make sure to always stay tuned to those outlets that I just mentioned because that's where a lot of my content is going to be. So, without further ado, where am I at this moment as I'm recording this? It is Monday night. I'm in Northern California. Yes, I had to get out of the snow in the great state of Washington because it is snowmageddon, snowpocalypse, the big snowstorm, the third, the fourth, whatever it might be. I am away from it. I had to call an audible to get where I need to be tomorrow, which will be in Florida. It's going to be very, very interesting how it goes and very interesting how it turns out. I'm going to be very busy, but in this channel, this very channel, I will talk about what went down. I will talk about just pretty much anything that's on my mind. They're going to be short little snippet episodes. I'll post some stuff then and there. There's some I cannot post, which I respectfully understand. So, don't expect this to be like a big old vlog like Kamikaze Games when he went to Phoenix. No, it's going to be very different. I will talk about it in an audio platform accompanied with some photos. There will be photos I can show because, well, they're my work. Interview snippets, maybe. But this is the outlet you want to be. Auto Rocket Racing 94 when it comes to the vlog and daily stuff because I will be reflecting a lot of what went down at Daytona, especially the duels, the truck race, the Xfinity, and the Daytona 500. So, speaking of NASCAR, let's get through a little West Coast Wednesday's result. It's not really West Coast Wednesday because it was the season opener that was supposed to be held on Sunday, but it got postponed due to rain. So tonight, it was the new Smyrna 175 in the K&N East. It was the season opener. And the West came out on top. It was Derek Krause, the number 16 Napa Auto Parts, who was victorious, followed by Ty Gibbs, Brandon McReynolds in the 74, who won the Loudon race and had a great shot of probably winning the ARCA race at Daytona, only for Todd Gilliland's bump and lock backfiring and ended the hopes of McReynolds winning at Daytona in the Davey Allison paint scheme. It is magnificently beautiful, but a great follow-up race for McReynolds in a Visconti car. Rounding out the top five was Sam Mayer and Anthony Sergey. As far as the rest of the West drivers, it was not a good night for the McAnally ladies as Brittany Zamora was involved in a late race crash, and Haley Deegan, who started on the pole because she was the fastest in the practice session, electrical issues put her out. She basically struggled from the moment the green flag dropped. She went from first all the way down to 15, so it was not a good outing for what many people believe and what she believes this could be a championship season. She finished 16th out of a 19-car field. Other East notables include Spencer Davis in 7th, Ruben Garcia in 8th, Max McLaughlin in 11th for Hajigiatori, Tanner Gray, the former NHRA Pro Stock champion. He had a pretty nice outing finishing in 12th. But the big one is Chase Cabre, who led early in the going, but there was a lot of smoke that came out of the car, ultimately retiring after completing 77 of the 175 laps with rear end failure. But perhaps the one that stood out the most was Drew Dollar. Drew Dollar in the DGR car had a tremendous showing. He led 48 of the 175 laps. Colin Garrett, out of the East, led the most at 64. But the biggest thing about Cross's victory, it was indeed he came from the 16th starting spot all the way from the back to the front to get this huge win. It is a big win for Cross because especially when he runs east, he's usually a threat. And in any race that he runs, he's usually a good threat as long as luck is on his side. And in this case, luck was indeed on his side because he worked all the way to the front, whereas Deegan regressed. This is kind of like roles reverse. Kraus had to start deep, but work all the way to the front, and ultimately the win. Deegan started in first, but regressed over time. And that was all just on car problems all throughout. So it was not a good showing. Well, we can't really judge it. It was not the best way to start off for the McAnally ladies, but a tremendous start for Derek Kraus as he's trying to win as many of them as possible. Remember, he did want a combo race at Gateway in the east side. He had a shot at Loudon, but ultimately lost to McReynolds. And speaking of ARCA, I mentioned it was Harrison Burton with the win, and one of many people have said, very confusing finish because the overtime says it will be 1 lap, 1 attempt, no 2 laps, 1 lap. That's where a lot of people were confused. This is probably more understanding now than it was the ultimate cluster of a fluffer that is known as the Advanced Auto Sparks Clash at Daytona for the 2019 campaign. Yes, history was made, as you may have saw in my post. Three red flags in the clash. That is a record. Also, to my knowledge, I don't think there's ever been an exhibition cup race that has warranted 3 red flags. Additionally, it's the first time since 2015 that we had red flags on non-points events, exhibitions that includes the Clash, the Duels, the Open, and the All-Star Race. It equals 2004 and 2006 with 3. The 3 from 04 were the shootout in 04 when Mayfield wrecked, the big one in the Nextel Open, and the Nextel All-Star Challenge. The one that Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch got into it and caused a big pile-up. 2006, there was rain in the Duels, and then there were 2 red flags in the All-Star Race, one for weather and one for a wreck. So in this one, in 2019, there is 3. I'm telling you, I said this to myself, with this rule package, some people say there may be few red flags. I would not count it out. We already have 3, and we got the Duels, and there's stuff on the line. There's a lot at stake. There is a true meaning for the Duels this time around. It will be 2 guys going home, 4 guys battling out. And those 4 are Parker Kligerman, Brendan Gong, Ryan Truex, and Joey Gase. Casey Mears and Tyler Reddick are both in the Daytona 500 by being the fastest of the non-charter teams. And in qualifying, it is going to be William Byron leading him to the green flag as he and Alex Bowman are the only ones secured a spot alongside with Mears and Reddick for their qualifying speed. Those are the 4 for sure. Of course, the 36 charter teams are in, but the rest of the starting grids are all up in the air this Thursday. And weather will indeed be a factor all week with the exception of Saturday and Sunday. At the very moment of this recording, sunny skies for the Daytona 500. Not just that in qualifying. It was a Hendrick sweep in the qualifying charts. Chase Elliott and Jimmy Johnson, both of them are 3rd and 4th. They're going to start 2nd in their respective duels. But to be a true sweep, Johnson and Elliott has to finish no worse than 2nd in those very duels for this to happen. And of course, Bowman and Byron have to avoid trouble, because if you ask Ken Schrader in 1990 and Greg Biffle in 2004, nothing is guaranteed. You may be the pole sitter, but if you have a problem, a wreck in the case of Schrader, or an engine problem, you will move to the rear of the field. And that will happen, and that can happen. Not that I mean will happen to them, but it will happen if they have problems. Those are NASCAR news. And oh, by the way, Jimmy Johnson. Yes, Jimmy Johnson won the Clash. And let's just keep it at that, because for those very few that watch, everybody knows what happened in the Clash. I don't need to really run it down. This is supposed to be a short episode that's going to be up on this very day that you're listening to it. I'm recording on a Monday, so it will be up on Tuesday, more than likely on a flight or when I'm in Florida. We'll see about that. So, before we wrap it up and kind of give you my thought, how I feel and everything, let's talk about IndyCar, because the Can't Miss Talent Pato Award, Patricio Award if you like to call him by a full name, will not be with Harding Steinbrenner Racing at all. It will not happen because Pato and Harding split. Their parting ways that doesn't mean Award is not going to be an IndyCar. Remember, he is the 2018 Indy Lights champion. He's got the scholarship that will guarantee him at least a couple IndyCar starts, including the Indianapolis 500. But it is an absolute darn shame that a can't-miss talent, a raw talent, that Formula One has not even noticed him. He had a tremendous showing at Sonoma. If you saw the IndyCar finale at Sonoma, if it wasn't Ryan Hunter-Ray dominating or Dixon winning his 5th championship, the next big thing that you may remember is that Pato started 5th and got 8th in the finale in his IndyCar debut. Additionally, he outperformed Colton Herta. The thing is, it's just business, the name of the game, and the sole Honda engine really cost dearly. Award, and it's safe to say in the best history, he's looking for bigger and greener pastures. There's no way IndyCar cannot pass him up. There's no way any team can't pass him up. I'm telling you, he's the real deal, and I'm willing to say Patricio Award. If with him in IndyCar, there's a really good chance we may see a Grand Prix at Mexico one day in IndyCar. And if that happens, we can look back with Pato being the contributing force of having IndyCar back in Mexico. Because remember, Champ Car used to run at that very circuit. They also ran in Monterey. But in the world of American open wheel racing, a market like Mexico with Pato Award being a future star, a transcending star, a future in the sport. This is the biggest blow in IndyCar news, because the rest of them has been absolutely positive, very positive. And also, speaking of positive, by the time I'm recording this, there's this big announcement involving Jimmy Johnson that will be out tomorrow afternoon. I'm still believing IndyCar may have something to do with it. That was my bold prediction. But it's a good dear friend of mine that runs the Extreme World Racing League. Give him a subscribe, by the way. He's a good lad, good man. Has a huge future in whatever he wants to do. He has a tremendous potential. So subscribe to Extreme World Racing League, because to me, EWRL is the home for gaming like NASCAR, Madden, and vice versa. If you want an alternative, it's not a bad alternative if you ask me when videos go up on this channel. Right now he's on the Madden phase right now. But still, my series is going to be something involving his future or open wheels. That's just my prediction. But yeah, this is not a good sign for. That's not good news for Pato. I really hope he gets a good ride. If it is Andretti for the Indianapolis 500, he's gotta deliver. And if he delivers, any team will open up the pockets to put him in the car. But in the name of the game of finances, that can be very difficult. And Harding has been notorious for it. There's this one Indy Lights driver, Santiago Urretti. I hope I pronounced it right or even said the name correctly to begin with. And Gabby Chavez. Chavez was not that bad at Harding. He did okay. There was a couple of instances where he was tremendous. But those particular drivers, they got the short straw. And Pato seems to have gotten the short straw, but he decided to go somewhere else before he realized that fate. So it will be one car. It will be Colton Herta in that very vehicle for Harding Steinbrenner. So that's a little bit of IndyCar news. So now, a closing thought. Oh, and by the way, the Grammys, and what's number one, I haven't even checked, and I'm not even going to bother with the Grammys. The fact that this Childish Gambino won something should tell you a lot. And the debate what should be best album, how it should be rewarded, that's for another topic for another time. But anyways, here is what I'm thinking going into tomorrow when I take that flight and head to Florida. It's less than 48 hours I'll be covering Media Day. I'll be representing Motorsports Tribune. My goal is when I leave Daytona is to leave as a better human being, a guy that contributed a lot, provided a lot of content, stayed myself very busy through video, in parts that I'm permitted, photography, and in writing. The big one is writing, of course, and also provide angles and stories that people could be interested in reading in. And also, what struck me the most, because when I'm out there, I'm gonna give it 110% and prove my worth. That I am a talent. I am a workhorse. I can contribute. I can bring a lot to the table, and I've done that already for this publication. But for me, Daytona is definitely going to be a huge opportunity. It's going to be challenging, but it's the dream. It's just all part of the dream to make it in this industry. And I hope you guys, for the few that are watching, make sure to follow my social media outlets and Motorsports Tribunes, because I will provide excellent stuff, quality stuff, and give my thoughts when time allows. It's going to be interesting. It's just going to feel very surreal that I will be at Daytona on the East Coast, more or less, for the very first time. Couldn't have pictured any perfect. I said myself, when I graduate from Idaho, if I'm covering either Daytona or Indy before the double 20s, this journey will be fantastic. And it will continue to be fantastic afterwards. That's just the bottom dollar. The bottom line is, I'm ready to go. I just want to get going and be covering all the things Daytona, trucks, Xfinity. Provide content. And see where it ends up. And see where I end up in the long run. So yeah, that will do it here with this short but very important You Think You Know Me. Just make sure to pay attention on this channel throughout the week. Motorsports Tribune. And also my social media outlets. Luis D. Torres 94 on Instagram. At the LT Files on Twitter for Motorsports Tribune. On Instagram, it's Motorsports Tribune, one word. On Twitter, it's Motorsports Trib. T-R-I-B at the end. Or just type in Motorsports Tribune on Twitter. Why am I giving the ad? Well, just in case you never know. But absolutely without it. Also, SoundCloud. I do have a SoundCloud. It is Luis Torres Multimedia. Yes, I'm breaking kayfabe, revealing my name, but I've already said my name on the NASCAR TV graphics on the TBS video, so the face reveal will not happen. But on my channel, doubt it. I doubt it. But there will be a vlog capturing before going to Daytona and when I'm at Daytona, and also a little reflection. Kind of like Kamikaze, but just me showing myself in the face. We'll see. I'll probably change my mind. Anyways, until we meet again, I hope you guys stay tuned on this channel, Motorsports Tribune, and all my social media outlets that I've already mentioned, because Daytona, make sure to pay attention to what I provide, because it will be a huge deal in my life, but also hopefully you guys enjoy it. So once again, catch you guys later, but I gotta be at Daytona, man. It's Daytona. There's nothing to tell you, it's just Daytona.